Everybody, before we get into this very early morning update, as it's only just after 5 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have many things to talk about. We have to get into the XRP Daily Technical Analysis, but we also have to get into, first, the IMF issues a stark warning against having Bitcoin as legal tender, and that's the International Monetary Fund. And I will show you by definition what the IMF is, what its purpose is, and what exactly they said about Bitcoin not being used as legal tender. Also, remember at 8:30 and 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the core PCE is being released today. That strips food and energy out of kind of the inflation numbers. I'll go over that so you know exactly what the core PCE is as well by definition. And we'll talk about what to expect here later on today. And then obviously you can see behind me the futures is down 79 points. We've got the S&P down 14.25 and the NASDAQ down 87.75. Russell 2000 is down 4.2 points as well. As you can see, the 2, 5, 10, and 30-year government bonds are all up slightly this morning. So then we'll take a look as well when we get into the charts at the DXY. So pay attention to this update. It's very, very important. There's going to be a lot of information here from everything I've talked about up to this point. We'll get on the same page so that you understand what to expect today on this February 24th. Make sure to hit that like button, as I would really appreciate that, as it really does push me through the analytics. It helps me out a great deal, and it does help get new people into this show, into this episode, or even into this community. So I greatly appreciate each and every one of you, as it's only about 5:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So get ready on this very early morning update. Good early a.m. It's 5:19 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, February 24th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So sometimes I find it important to come on pretty early, and today was one of those days. I don't know how many people will find this update, but it's important for the ones who really care. Right now, we've got the DXY up to 104.696. As it's on continued upward pressure as it broke out of the ascending triangle, which is a very bullish breakout. I still believe as long as we can hold this area at about 104.43, we should be able to pop up to this 106.20. So we have to watch this in the time. First, we'll have to get above that 105.37. So that's what we're watching in the immediate short term. I wanted to look at the total crypto market cap real quick so we can see exactly what's going on here as well. As it looks like a bear flag's been put in. And we're right below the 20-day still, just like yesterday. We're in the 2-hour time frame. This is very bearish if you're below this 1.05 trillion. And then once we lose this 1.035 trillion, as we talked about last few days, you'll come right back on down here to retest this breakout point at about 990 billion. And that's a multi-year trend line. Once you get back into there, then you got 940 and 892 below. So we have to watch that very carefully. If we look at XRP, it's down 0.10%, still is below 39 cents, still under a lot of pressure, and we must pay very close attention. These are times when we can start to get into a pattern here. We can start having an understanding about XRP and what we're doing. XRP sitting at 0.3880. There's increased volatility in crypto, and the IMF, on top of everything else, has issued a warning against Bitcoin and the world basically using it as legal tender. So that's going to be interesting, and we'll have to see exactly what that comes down to, but let's transition a little bit. So the IMF, we'll talk about this real quick, and then we'll get back into the charts. But the IMF is the International Monetary Fund, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is real quick. So the IMF stands for International Monetary Fund. It is an international organization founded in 1944 with the goal of promoting international monetary cooperation and exchange rate stability, facilitating the balanced growth of international trade, and providing resources to help countries in need of financial assistance. The IMF provides financial and technical assistance to its member countries to help them address balance of payments problems, stabilize their economies, and promote sustainable economic growth. It also provides policy advice and conducts research on macroeconomic and financial issues. Membership in the IMF is open to all countries that are willing to abide by its rules and regulations. Currently, there are 190 member countries. The IMF is headquartered in Washington, D.C., and its managing director is Kristalina Georgieva, whatever. And now, why that's so important, I'll show you the article of what the IMF has stated, but I wanted to give you a little background information before I read it. So the IMF doesn't want Bitcoin in the bowels of the financial system. The IMF asks countries to give legal tenders to countries not to give legal tender status to cryptocurrencies. It published a paper with 9-point recommendations. So safeguard monetary. So IMF recommends against Bitcoin's legal tender status, safeguard monetary sovereignty and stability by strengthening monetary policy frameworks, and do not grant crypto assets official currency or legal tender status. The first among the 9 points in the recommendation noted the International Lenders Executive Board prepared the paper Elements of Effective Policies for Crypto Assets to provide guidance to IMF member countries regarding policies on regulations around Bitcoin and other crypto assets have become a priority globally. Most countries are struggling to draft effective policies around crypto assets that are decentralized in nature. However, El Salvador became the first country to give Bitcoin legal tender status in late 2021, which was a move that the Central African Republic later followed. It was a nightmare. So, I don't want to read a lot more into this, but the only other thing I will read, the IMF earlier criticized the move of the two countries in labeling Bitcoin as a legal tender along with their fiat currencies. It even urged the government of El Salvador to scrap its initiative to call Bitcoin a legal tender. So many recommendations around crypto. The other points of the paper recommend that countries build a guard against excessive capital flow volatility and maintain the effectiveness of capital flow management measures. In addition, the distressed legal lender urged members to analyze and disclose the financial risk and adopt ambiguous tax treatment of crypto assets. So now that we have a better understanding of what the IMF said and exactly what the International Monetary Fund is, we need to just pay attention to Bitcoin here as well. As we've seen XRP, we see what the chart's looking like right now. And we're still stuck within a range. I'll show you resistance 1 and resistance 2 on XRP and Bitcoin, and support 1 and 2 on both. So right now with with Bitcoin, we have S1 still sitting, and we've come out a little bit. Yesterday it was around 23,500. Today S1's about 23,690. So we need to hold 23,690. It was right at the 200-day, ironically, in the 2-hour. Once we lose S1, our S2 support's going to be 21,965. And those are my two ranges. The rest I don't really think matter. And then resistance 1 is going to be up here at 25,194. Actually, we can say resistance 1 is at 24,000. So resistance 1's right at about 24,015 area. So 24,000. So R1, 24,000. R2, 25,194. S1 is right at 23,700. S2 is at 21,965 for Bitcoin. And then you can see how this can snowball if we break 21,965. Then we got 20,965, 20,413. And then underneath that is where we have the multi-year trend line at 19,710 approximately if we hit it today. So that's what we would have to watch out for. With XRP, if you want S1, S2, we have S1 is at 386. And we've been dealing with that for several days. S2 is at 377. And then if we break that, we come down here where I've circled. And if we come down here today, that would be around the 355 level. So 355 would be that downtrending support on the falling channel. So falling channel support is 355. Falling channel resistance still maintains at 40 cents. So we have R1 at 390. I still like the 391. So resistance 1 at 391. Resistance 2 at 40 cents. Support 1 at 386. Support 2 at 377. Support 3, which would be falling channel support at 355. That's what we're looking at for XRP. And you got to keep it in the channel. Keep it in the falling channel as I've put it in. That's the immediate short term. We are in an overall descending triangle if we look at the bigger patterns. But it's easier to dissect this if we just look at the short term time frame. This is the descending triangle, the downtrending resistance in the descending triangle. We needed to stay over 40 cents to continue this pattern moving up. If we were to fail, we could come all the way back down here in a fashion. And this honestly could get ugly on the bottom of this descending triangle. This comes all the way down to like 12 cents. But this was not a pattern that was put in overnight. This has been going on for quite some time. And in fact, this goes all the way back to 2021. So that's what we're looking at right there. And it actually starts with the 2020 push-up after the lawsuit when SEC sued Ripple XRP. So that's what we're looking at. So now we've gone through everything we need to know on the charts, but there's just one more thing I need to teach you about. So basically, the U.S. is going to release its core PCE numbers at 8:30 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not exactly sure which of the two. I think the first numbers come out at 8:30, and then you'll hear a series of 4 different speakers at around 9:30 or later on today. So basically what they do is they strip out food and energy to give you it still gives you an inflation test, but it kind of strips out the rougher parts, which makes absolutely zero sense because who in the United States can live or around the world without food and energy? So core PC stands for core personal consumption expenditures, which is a measure of inflation in the United States. It is calculated by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, BEA, and is a component of the Personal Income and Outlays Report. The core PC is considered to be a more reliable measure of inflation than the Consumer Price Index, which is horseshit, because it excludes volatile price movements in food and energy. So why would it be better if it could exclude the volatility in food and energy? I just feel like it's fitting more of an agenda, like they want a number to look a certain way, so we strip out the most volatile parts. Makes zero fucking sense. This is because food and energy prices can be influenced by factors such as weather, geopolitical tensions, and other non-monetary issues that are not necessarily indicative of underlying inflation trends. Nonsense. The Federal Reserve closely monitors the core PC as part of its dual mandate of promoting maximum employment and price stability. The Fed has set a target inflation rate of 2% as measured by the core PCE and adjusts the monetary policy to maintain this target. If inflation rises above or falls below this target, the Fed may adjust interest rates and other monetary policy tools to try to bring inflation back to the target level. They are full of nonsense. Make sure to hit that like button as it greatly does put me through the analytics. I would greatly appreciate it. Please hit that like button as I've been up very early this morning for each and every one of you. If you want to trade like I do on BitGet and or MEXC, there's no spot fees on the buy and sell. Look in the video description below and or the pinned message below. Also, if you want to join Tom's Army and pay it forward, as I would really appreciate the support, that's in the video description and pinned message as well. Hashtag the FUD stops here. Hashtag be better, do better. And remember, help one person each and every day. Because if I don't do my part and you don't do your part, there's simply no point in this journey alone.